I recently read an article titled "The Misfortune of Graduating in 2020." Sounded really ominous. Between the pandemic and a global recession, how bad is the job market out there?
Well, let me try to describe the situation here in China. We have about 8.5 to 9 million students graduating, including undergraduate students and graduate students graduating this year. And my guess is that probably 60 to 70% of the students of the first tier, second tier universities have probably landed a job there already. At our university, we have close to 90% actually of students already landed a job. Of course, the UIB is a very good university here in China. The government tries to do a lot of things to help. As typical, in China, the government plays a very important role. First of all, we try to enlarge the graduate school student population, so that we can channel some of the undergraduates to graduate schools. The Ministry of Education authorized, I think, close to 200,000 number quotas for graduate students. Second, the government is also doing a lot of hiring, for example, in the primary schools, middle schools, kindergartens. Many of these institutions are owned by the government. They are trying to hire more students from right out of college. And another venue is state-owned enterprises, where the government has some influences. I know, for example, the government essentially asked some of the largest state-owned enterprises to have at least 50% of new hires for those students right out of school. So these are the measures the government can do. I know also, for example, the provincial governments try to provide some incentives for small and medium-sized business to hire students out of college. In terms of monetary incentives, they gave, for example, 1,000 yuan, 2,000 yuan as a sort of a matching fund for each hire. If that enterprise hires a new student. So these are the measures the government tries to help. And I think from students' perspective, they really try to, I would say, they really try to do a much harder job. The issue is that the entire spring recruitment season essentially is gone due to the coronavirus pandemic. And you have to go out of your way to try to find jobs and dress up your resume. And also, I would say, to lower expectation a little bit. This is a very difficult time. We have to weather through this, and things will come back and get better in a few more months.
Professor, I'm just going to quickly get a question on that, because you talk about lowering expectations. During the last global financial crisis of 0809, new graduates had a hard time entering the workforce, a little bit like what we're seeing now, and they were set back in their career progression, earning power. Is that temporary, or can you quickly catch up, would you say?
I think it's a temporary thing. Exactly as you pointed out, we have gone through this during the 2008, 2009 financial crisis. I remember at that time, it's very tough for new graduates. But things get better in 2 to 3 years, and we had some very good years. I mean, after 2008 financial crisis, it was a long stretch of time boom time, almost over 10 years. So the job market looks very good prior to the pandemic. In the United States, unemployment rate was below 4%. It's just unprecedented. So I'm pretty convinced that things will get better after this coronavirus is over.
Wow, then. So apart from the government sector, what advice would you give to new graduates on what they can do to make themselves more marketable?
Other than the things I've just mentioned, dress up your resume, make more phone calls, get your resume online, contact people, contact your relatives, friends, try to find leads. And I think another quite important thing that I didn't mention is go out on your own. There are also a lot of opportunities for graduates to start on its own. I think today's digital age is actually quite attuned to starting up new businesses using the e-commerce platforms. So I think that's another thing they can think of.